We get started. I want to recognize Representative Musser from the great state of Pennsylvania to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The committee will now come to order, and a quorum is present. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. As required by the House rules, a copy of the legislative measures have been made available to members and the public at least 24 hours in advance. Without objection, the committee will vote electronically in accordance with the committee rules and regulations developed by the House Committees on Rules and Administration. I now recognize myself for opening remarks. Today, we will mark up 7 important bills that support small business across the country. These bills reflect the commitment to equipping entrepreneurs with the tools they need to innovate, grow, and compete in our ever-evolving economy. From the expanding access to artificial intelligence resources, strengthening oversight, removing outdated barriers to capital, and tackling burdensome regulations, each of these bills will support Main Street America in a meaningful way. As chairman, I'm proud of the work being done in this committee to support the administration's efforts and ensure that small businesses remain at the forefront of the American economy. These bills represent the committee's bipartisan commitment to fostering an environment where small businesses can grow, innovate, and invest in their communities. Several of the bills we are considering today focus on the transformative role of artificial intelligence and ensure that small businesses have access to resources and training to help them utilize AI. Our bills today will also bring greater accountability and oversight of the SBA 504 loan program and improve access to SBA lending by all types of industries. We will also consider a bill that would finally bring SBA micro-lending to the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. I appreciate the ranking member and the committee staff who have supported the committee's effort over the years on this issue. Another bill will require the SBA to implement requirements for the fiscal year 2019 NDAA to provide information and outreach about employee ownership for small businesses. And finally, we will consider a bill that empowers small businesses to report burdensome regulations by codifying the SBA Office of Advocacy's red tape hotline. I'm proud of the continued bipartisan efforts that have resulted in today's markup. These efforts have led to the passage of 18 small business bills out of the House this year, which now await Senate consideration. I look forward to working with my colleagues so we can continue to pass meaningful legislation that empowers small businesses and strengthens our communities. Now, with that, I look forward to today's markup, and I yield to the distinguished member and my friend, the ranking member from New York, Ms. Velasquez, for her opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for convening this markup today. As we consider legislation to shape the future of small businesses across the country, it is important to address both the opportunities and challenges facing small businesses today. I plan to lend my support to the 6 bipartisan bills under consideration, and I will lay out my concerns with the last bill. And I appreciate the chairman's efforts to mark up a fair ratio of Republican and Democratic bills. I'm encouraged to see us working together on common sense bipartisan bills that provide more opportunity for small businesses, because expanding opportunities shouldn't be a partisan issue. With that said, we need the SBA to be a more accountable partner. Ignoring congressional oversight letters and requests for meetings undermines trust. It needs to change, and my hope is that you will join me in ensuring the agency is more responsive to this committee. And I am hopeful we can work together on issues that really matter. Lowering costs for small businesses. These critical employers, who account for a large portion of jobs in this country, are not hiring because they are grappling with inflation and escalating costs. According to the Center for American Progress analysis, more than 5 million self-employed small business owners have health insurance coverage through the ACA. We cannot allow these tax credits to expire, causing premiums to double for millions of Americans. And our ranchers and farmers are reeling from decisions on tariffs and beef purchases that have been unilaterally made by this administration. I urge you to schedule a hearing so we can hear directly from small businesses about these important issues. Thank you again, Mr. Williams, and I look forward to a productive markup. I yield back.
Lady yields back. And does any other member seek recognition for the purpose of making an opening statement? Okay, seeing none, we will now move to consideration of the first bill. The committee now moves to consideration of H.R. 5763, the Main Street Parity Act, introduced by Chairman myself and Representative Simone. The clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 5763, a bill to amend the small business.
Without objection, H.R. 5763 is considered as read and open for amendment. I now recognize myself for a statement on the bill. Most small businesses owners applying for 504 loans must contribute 10% as a form of down payment. However, if their loan involves a limited purpose property, such as bowling alley, dairy farm, or doctor's office, they must contribute an extra 5%, a total of 15% down. And everyday businesses on Main Street like these are unfairly burdened with this extra equity requirement that is based on outdated, inaccurate assumptions that these kinds of businesses pose a greater risk to the program. So most of the loans in these affected industries, like bowling alleys, hospitals, and wineries, perform better on average than the entire 504 portfolio. So this bill will remove unnecessary burdens for entrepreneurs who are seeking loans for these special purpose buildings, and will put them on equal footing with their peers. This change will support the countless small businesses at the center of our communities and drive the economy, and it is time to bring parity back to Main Street. So I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 5763, and I yield back. And I now recognize the bill's co-sponsor, Representative Simone from the great state of California, for her remarks.
It's Simon, but I really like I like Simone. It sounds a lot more
She's my
dignified.
friend. I was just checking her out. Thank you.
Simone gives it a little French flair. My family is from Louisiana, sir. Thank you so much. And it's been an honor to work with you on this bill. Together, you and I championing this bill and others. It's been a real honor. And I want to thank our ranking member Velasquez for really lifting up the freshman members of this committee to ensure that we're a part of this legislative process full scale. The Main Street Parity Act is a simple way to support a broad range of small businesses in this country, not just the ones with standard commercial property. So right now, businesses in my district and in districts across the country operate in what's called a special purpose property. And they are being penalized simply for having unique construction or building needs. You referenced bowling alleys, and you're absolutely right. These include places, not just bowling alleys, but car washes and marinas and funeral homes and recreation centers. These are the kind of small businesses in our community that serve local families, that create real jobs and keep our communities running. The Main Street Parity Act lowers the equity requirement for these borrowers to the same 10% required for everyone else. This is definitely a common sense bill that supports small business owners throughout the country. This bill is a simple fix. It is nonpartisan, and it really does what our constituents have asked us to do, making small business work on Main Street, in rural and in urban communities throughout this country. It's about promoting fair, inclusive economic growth and recognizing that opportunity should not depend on something as small as the type of building your business happens to own or run in. I urge all of my colleagues today to support the Main Street Parity Act and ensure fair capital access across all small business industries in our great nation. Thank you, sir, and I yield back.
Congressman Simon for that. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill? No. I now recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support H.R. 5763. This bill makes important adjustments to improve SBA 504 CDC program. I applaud Chairman Williams and Representative Simon for their leadership on this issue. The 504 CDC program has long supported small businesses in accessing capital for the development of major fixed assets, ensuring that these businesses have the resources they need to be successful and support thousands of jobs across the country. As part of the 504 CDC program, loans are guaranteed for so-called special use properties like bowling alleys, car washes, and marinas. Since the special use designation was created in 1996, businesses developing these properties have been required to pay a special use penalty when accessing 504 CDC loans. The additional equity requirement was put in place by Congress because of the belief that these special use properties will be challenging to repurpose, shrinking the market pool of potential buyers and making them more difficult to sell, thereby posing a higher risk to the SBA loan portfolio if one of these businesses ever faced financial hardship and needed to be sold. However, in almost 30 years since the designation was created and the penalty was put in place, many of these properties have been successfully repurposed for alternative uses. More importantly, the charge-off rate since that time is substantially similar to standard 504 CDC loans, demonstrating that these loans pose no greater risk than standard loans. Therefore, it is time to remove the special use penalty and lower the equity barrier this property face when accessing capital through the 504 CDC program. This bill reduces the minimum equity requirement for special use property to at least 10%, in line with the requirement for standard loans under the 504 CDC program. It also maintains the discretionary authority to require higher equity requirements of the borrower if the CDC so chooses. I want to thank my Republican colleagues for their collaboration on H.R. 5788, which we are also discussing, that increases the SBA reporting requirements to Congress for 504 CDC loans, including for special use properties, so that we can continue to monitor the changes we're making in this bill in the future. This bill is supported by the National Association of Development Companies. I urge my colleagues to support the bill, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back, and does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Okay, seeing none, the question now occurs on favorably reporting H.R. 5763. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. H.R. 5763 is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request a recorded vote.
There's a recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11. Further proceedings on this bill are postponed. The committee now moves to consideration of H.R. 5788, the 504 Program Risk Oversight Act, introduced by Representative Tran and Petronas. The clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 5788, a
Without
bill to
objection, H.R. 5788 is considered as read and open for amendment. I now recognize the bill's sponsor, Representative Tran, from the great state of California, for a statement on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to discuss an essential piece of legislation today, the 504 Program Risk Oversight Act. The 504 Program Risk Oversight Act would require the SBA to conduct an annual risk assessment of the 504 CDC program and provide Congress with a report containing the results by December 1st each year. The 504 loan program is SBA's premier economic development program, providing low-cost, fixed-rate capital to help small businesses expand. Since its inception in 1986, the program has provided approximately $400 billion in total project financing and created over 3.3 million jobs. In California, that translates to $95 billion in total capital and the creation of over 715,000 good-paying jobs. The SBA's 504 program is central to long-term business growth and competitiveness for many small business owners. However, as small business grow and take on larger and more complex projects, I have heard from my constituents that the limitation in SBA's 504 financing imposes unnecessary constraints on the organic and profitable growth of their business. Many times I've heard that a limitation they face was when their financing needs were more than what the SBA could lend due to the loan limits. That's why I support increasing the maximum loan size for 504 to allow the program to have a bigger impact and adjust the loan limits, which have not been changed since 2010. However, it is also important to ensure program performance remains a top priority and the 504 program stays healthy for its long-term availability to small businesses. Currently, SBA is not required to conduct an annual portfolio risk analysis of the 504 program and provide Congress with a detailed report containing the results. This bipartisan bill will address the problem and help more Americans launch and grow small businesses by improving oversight and risk assessment of the 504 program. Transparent data is the cornerstone of a productive partnership between the SBA, Congress, and the industry, and the work we do to modernize the 504 loan limit for all borrowers while keeping the program healthy. I am proud to lead this bill, and I want to thank my colleague, Representative Jimmy Patronis, for his partnership in co-leading this important piece of legislation with me. I urge my colleagues to support this important bipartisan bill. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize Representative Patronis from the great state of Florida for a statement on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate my colleague, Congressman Tran's work on this good bill. I'm pleased also to be an original co-sponsor on this legislation. Transparency and responsible government is key to an effective government. This bill is an example of just that. As a former CFO of the state of Florida, I was responsible for overseeing the state's investments, especially in the retirement space. We must ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are being used effectively and not set on fire. This bill will make sure that there's always risk analysis being done on 504 program activities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman yields back. Are there any of the members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill? Seeing none, I'd like to recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me start off by thanking Representatives Tran and Patronis for working together on a bipartisan basis to introduce this important bill. Information and transparency are central to ensuring the proper operation and functioning of the SBA lending programs, including the 504 CDC program, and this bill will help our committee carry out our oversight responsibility. For months, I have investigated and warned about the rising default levels in the SBA other main lending program, the flagship 7A program. Federal law requires the SBA Office of Credit Risk Management to conduct an annual portfolio risk analysis of the 7A program and provide Congress with a detailed report of the results. It is this report that has helped our committee examine the 7A program's rising defaults and tailor our actions accordingly. The report provides detailed information on the program's overall risk set forth by industry concentration, risk created by individual lenders, enforcement actions that have been taken, and other important data points. Unfortunately, a similar statutory requirement does not exist for the 504 CDC program. H.R. 5788 will fix that by compelling the SBA to conduct an annual risk analysis of the 504 CDC program and provide Congress with the results tailored to meet the 504 CDC program's unique features. This bill will require the SBA to provide many of the same data points on the 504 CDC program as it's currently providing us on the 7A program. Let me be clear, loan defaults do not currently seem to be a concern in the 504 CDC program. Publicly available information demonstrates responsible operation of the program, but this bill gives us information we need to monitor the program now and in the future, so its zero subsidy requirement is maintained. Finally, H.R. 5788 will require that the 504 CDC risk report also be posted on the SBA website and made available to the public. H.R. 5788 is supported by the National Association of Development Companies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back, and thank you. And I now recognize myself to speak in support of this legislation. The SBA's 504 loan program plays a crucial role in financing fixed assets for small businesses through community-based partners. While these loans help local small businesses grow, there is a clear lack of reporting on the health and risk within the 504 portfolio. So, as Americans and policymakers need a clear, timely information on the program to ensure that taxpayer dollars are protected, we need to know that the program is sustainable and effective for small businesses nationwide. The 504 Program Risk Oversight Act ensures that Congress can carry out its constitutional duty of oversight by requiring annual data-driven reports from the SBA on the health of the 504 loan program. By enhancing transparency and insight, this legislation will help Congress identify and mitigate risk early, strengthening the long-term viability of the 504 loan program and ensuring continued support for American entrepreneurs. So I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 5788, and I yield back. Does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Okay, seeing none, the question now on favorably reporting H.R. 5788 to the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the Chair, the ayes have it. H.R. 5788 is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, right.
I'd like to request a recorded vote.
Okay, we've got a recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered, and pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11, further proceedings on this bill are postponed. Okay, the committee now moves to consideration of H.R. 3496, Northern Mariana Islands Small Business Access Act, introduced by Delegate King Hines and co-sponsor Representative Conaway, and the clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 3496, a bill to amend the
Okay,
Small
without
Business
objection,
Act.
H.R. 3496 is considered as read and open for amendment. The bill sponsor, Delegate King Hines, has an amendment in the nature of a substitute at the desk. The amendment has been distributed in advance. The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R.
Okay, without
3496.
objection, the amendment is considered as read, and the substitute will be considered as a base text for the purpose of further amendment. I now recognize the bill sponsor, Delegate King Hines, from the Great Northern Mariana Islands, for a statement on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Chairman Williams and Ranking Member Velasquez, for agreeing to include my bill H.R. 3496, the Northern Mariana Islands Small Business Access Act, in today's markup. H.R. 3496 would include my district, the Northern Mariana Islands, in the Small Business Administration's microloan program. The microloan program issues loans of $50,000 or less at low interest rates to help small businesses that may be unable to access capital elsewhere grow their businesses and create jobs. Since the program became operational in 1992, it has issued over 69,000 loans, totaling over $900 million, and supported over 250,000 American jobs. Despite the program's impressive impact for Americans across the country, the Northern Mariana Islands is the only state or territory not explicitly included under the law. This bill would simply add the CNMI to be eligible for the program alongside every other territory. I thank my co-lead on the bill, Representative Conaway, for his steadfast support, and Congressman Cisneros for co-sponsoring this legislation as well. Again, my bill simply adds my district to the microloan program that is already available to all other Americans. I urge my colleagues to support this bipartisan, common sense, no-cost bill. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize Representative Conaway from the great state of New Jersey for a statement on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to echo support for H.R. 3496, the Northern Mariana Islands Small Business Access Act, along with my colleague, Congresswoman King Hines. As has been said, the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Island, I don't say that very often, Northern Mariana Islands, is one of the 6 territories in the U.S., and despite its status as a territory, the Northern Mariana Islands have been excluded from certain small business programs. This is important legislation that would ensure that there are expanded access to SBA's microloan program to small businesses on the Northern Mariana Islands. As you know, access to capital is vital for success and stability of small businesses. The SBA's microloan program is designed to assist women, low-income persons, veterans, minority entrepreneurs, and small business owners, and said loans can be used for a myriad of purposes, including working capital, inventory, supplies, furniture, fixtures, machinery, and equipment. Ensuring that the Northern Mariana Islands has better access to this important SBA program is very important, and I urge all of my colleagues to support this important piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement? Seeing none, I would like to recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to express my support for H.R. 3496 as amended. I commend Delegate King Hines and Dr. Conaway for reintroducing the bill we have worked on for several years now. The Northern Mariana Islands Small Business Access Act is a straightforward but important bill that expands access to the SBA microloan program to small businesses in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. The program has been hugely successful. With that said, small businesses in the Northern Mariana Islands face unique challenges as geographic isolation leads to higher costs for goods and services. And their economy is heavily reliant on tourism, which can ebb and flow with the economy and natural disaster. Having access to affordable credit gives small businesses the ability to weather the storms and economic uncertainty and fully prepare for the next opportunity. I worked to ensure the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands had access to the microloan program as part of a more comprehensive bill to improve the microloan program. Despite passing the House, that bill was not considered in the Senate. While I would prefer to handle this issue in a more complete review of the program to make much-needed improvements, I am willing to set aside those concerns today to ensure that small business owners in CMMI have access to the SBA microloan program, and I urge my colleagues to support this bipartisan measure. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Thank you. I now recognize myself to speak in support of this legislation. The SBA microloan program offers entrepreneurs access to small dollar loans through intermediaries. By statute, the SBA portions microloan program funding to each state and territory except for the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. This exclusion makes it more challenging for small businesses in the Northern Mariana Islands to access capital. And the Northern Mariana Islands Small Business Access Act amends the Small Business Act to include the Northern Mariana Islands in the program's geographic coverage. Expanding microloan eligibility will spark entrepreneurship that strengthens that local economy for all states and territories, and further assisting constituents of our colleague, Delegate King Hines, to access opportunities to grow. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 3496, and I yield back. Does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none, the question now occurs on the adoption of the substitute amendment offered H.R. 3496 by Delegate King Hines. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment in the nature of a substitute H.R. 3496 is adopted. Okay, the question is now on favorably reporting H.R. 3496 as amended to the House. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and H.R. 3496 as amended is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman,
For what purpose does the gentlelady seek recognition?
I'd like to request a recorded vote.
Okay, a recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered and pursuant to Committee 13, Rule 13 and House Rule 11. Further proceedings on this bill are postponed. The committee now moves to consideration of H.R. 5764 AI for Main Street Act, introduced by Representatives Alford and Skolton. The clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 5764, a bill to amend the Small
Without
Business
objection,
Act.
H.R. 5764 is considered as read and open for amendment. The bill's sponsor, Representative Alford, has an amendment in the nature of a substitute at the desk. The amendment has been distributed in advance. The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 57.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read, and the substitute will be considered as base text for the purpose of further amendment. I now recognize the bill's sponsor, Representative Alford, from the great state of Missouri, for a statement on the bill and the amendment.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ranking Member Velasquez, for holding this hearing today. It's so good to see everyone on both sides of the aisle. This committee exists in Congress to champion Main Street, to ensure that the small businesses that employ about half of all Americans can continue to thrive. As we all know, the AI revolution is not coming. It is already here. And if any company from Main Street to Wall Street is not adapting, they will be left behind. This is why I was proud to introduce the AI for Main Street Act along with Congresswoman Skolton. This bill directs small business development centers to help small businesses evaluate and adopt artificial intelligence by providing guidance, training, and outreach. It builds on existing efforts like America's SBDC AIU program. I urge all of my colleagues to support this important legislation to ensure that Main Street gets the counseling they need to survive and thrive during the AI era, which is not going away anytime soon. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize Representative Skolton from the great state of Michigan for a statement on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I've been so proud to partner with Rep. Alford to lead the AI for Main Street Act. He said it so well, and this committee has recognized the absolute revolutionary power that AI can have for so many of our small business owners. Yet, far too many don't know how to access its power in a responsible way. This bill will help small businesses get quality guidance on how to adopt artificial intelligence into their operations. At a time when AI tools are becoming more accessible but also more complex, small business owners need trusted, local resources to help them navigate this new terrain. We have seen firsthand in our district how cutting-edge AI help from small business development centers can be just an absolute game changer. And that is where the AI for Main Street Act comes in. Our bill will direct small business development centers to provide guidance, training, and outreach to small business owners so they can evaluate the use of AI for their businesses and implement it according to their unique needs. SBDCs are already a lifeline for small businesses, places where they turn to for help, practical expertise, and real-world solutions. By equipping these centers with AI-focused training, we are meeting small business owners where they are and giving them tools that they can put to work immediately. In our increasingly connected world, AI presents major changes to our economy and our way of life, from streamlining bookkeeping to managing inventory to improving customer outreach. AI can help small businesses save time, cut costs, stay competitive, but only if they have the knowledge how to use it effectively. That makes it all the more important that small businesses have the right resources. The AI for Main Street Act gives small businesses, again, the key word is trust, that trusted place to turn as they decide how to use AI to serve their goals. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Gentlelady yields back. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized in a statement on the bill? Seeing none, I would like to recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am really pleased to support the AI for Mainstream Act, which would allow the small business development centers to assist small business owners on how to evaluate artificial intelligence. I commend Mr. Alford and Ms. Golden for working together on this bipartisan legislation. Among other things, AI has the potential to boost productivity, enhance customer service, and save costs. But small businesses must learn to use and manage AI tools effectively. If they don't, it can backfire and cause serious problems. We all heard the story of the Chevy dealership in Watsonville, California, that deployed an automated customer service chatbot that was manipulated into offering a Tahoe for $1 and stating the deal is legally binding. As AI advances, so do the inherent risks. That is why it is important for SBA and its entrepreneurial ecosystem to help small businesses make the most of this technology. And it also makes sense to further empower the national network of SBDCs to guide and train small businesses for the future. I urge my colleagues to vote yes. I yield back my time.
Lady yields back, and thank you, and I now recognize myself to speak in support of this legislation. Evolving artificial intelligence tools are transforming the business world and reshaping how entrepreneurs and small business operate and compete. While larger corporations are already harnessing new technologies, many small businesses are struggling to help keep up due to limited resources, lack of training, and concerns about cybersecurity. The AI for Main Street Act addresses this gap by directing the SBA Small Business Development Centers to provide training, coaching, and ongoing support for integrating AI responsibility into small business. SBDCs are a crucial public-private partnership that operate in every state to assist all small businesses, whether they're just starting or fully established. Ensuring that these resource partners can provide AI education will give small businesses the proper tools and safeguards to compete in today's economy. As AI becomes an integral driver of productivity and competitiveness across the economy, small businesses must not be left behind. Technology won't wait for small businesses to catch up, and Congress must help bridge that gap to help close the innovation divide. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 5764, and I yield back. Does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Okay, seeing none, the question now occurs on the adoption of the substitute amendment offered to H.R. 5764 by Mr. Alford. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 5764 is adopted. The question is now unfavorably reporting H.R. 5764 as amended to the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and H.R. 5764 as amended is agreed to.
Mr. Chair,
For what purpose does the gentleman seek recognition?
I request a recorded vote, please.
Recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered and pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11. Further proceedings on the bill are postponed. The committee now moves to consideration of H.R. 5784, the Artificial Intelligence Wisdom for Innovative Small Enterprises, or AI WISE Act, introduced by Representatives Skolton and Downing, and the clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 5784, a bill to amend the Small Business Act.
Without objection, H.R. 5784 is considered as read and open for amendment. I now recognize the bill's sponsor, Representative Skolton, from the great state of Michigan, for a statement on the bill.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. You're sensing a theme today, and I'm so glad that this committee takes the inclusion and implementation of AI in the small business arena seriously. It is absolutely critical. As we know, artificial intelligence is rapidly shaping industries across the globe, but small businesses, who are the backbone of our economy, often struggle to keep up with fast-paced technological change. Sorry, hold on. I think I got the wrong. This is the AI for Main Street. Sorry, I was like, that sounds really familiar. AI Wise, we can vote on that one now too. We're on AI for Main Street. We're on AI Wise. We're on AI Wise. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Apologies. This is what when you get all these great AI bills. The AI Wise Act requires the SBA to create AI literacy resources tailored specifically to small businesses through the SBA's e-learning platform. Entrepreneurs and small business owners will be empowered with clear, actionable information on how to leverage AI in their operations, whether that's through automating tasks, improving customer service, or making smarter decisions using data. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, nearly 1 in 4 businesses do not know whether they will use AI in production within the next 6 months. They just don't know if it's going to be a part of their business or not. That's untenable in a rapidly evolving technological landscape where small businesses cannot afford to be left behind. This bill will level the technological playing field for small businesses, providing them the tools they need to thrive in an ever-changing global economy. AI isn't just for the tech giants. It's for everyone, especially small businesses, whether we're talking about a local bakery, a landscaping company, or a digital startup. AI has the potential to increase productivity, reduce costs, and open up new growth opportunities. The AI Wise Act gives our small businesses the knowledge they need to embrace AI and remain the top job creators in our country. I want to express my gratitude to Congressman Downing for joining me in leading this bill, and I ask unanimous consent to insert into the record letters of support for the AI Wise Act from Intuit and Open AI. I urge all of my colleagues to support the AI Wise Act. The future of our economy depends on helping small businesses harness the power of emerging technologies like AI, and this bill will help make that a reality. I yield the remainder of my time.
Without objection, we'll accept your papers. I now recognize Representative Downing from the great state of Montana for a statement on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to my colleague, Representative Skolton, for the work on this bill. You know, over the course of the last several years, we have seen incredible advancements in the development of AI technology. AI capabilities like machine learning, language processing, these will play a critical role in our economy moving forward. You know, businesses across our country are rapidly incorporating AI to streamline key operations like workforce recruitment, marketing, strategy development. However, like any emerging technology, businesses with substantial and stable access to capital tend to be better positioned for technology adoption in dealing with its ramifications. Small businesses, on the other hand, including businesses in rural communities like in my home district of central and eastern Montana, often lack the resources and information needed to facilitate technology adoption. Now, according to a 2025 report from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, 59% of Montana small businesses have adopted AI into their operations. While this figure is significant, it pales in comparison to the near universal adoption of AI that we've seen with Fortune 500 companies. This is why I'm proud to co-lead H.R. 5784, the AI Wise Act, with my colleague, Representative Skolton. The AI Wise Act directs SBA to establish educational resources on AI for small businesses through its online learning program. In doing so, this legislation seeks to provide small businesses with the technical and practical knowledge needed in order to best navigate AI adoption. To assemble this information, this legislation directs the SBA to work in coordination with the National Institute for Standards and Technology, NIST, as well as an advisory working group of public and private sector partners. The scope of this new AI educational material will include resources for small businesses on how AI models work, best practices for coordinating with third-party providers of AI tools, and how businesses can identify tasks that AI can reliably and effectively perform. I'd like to again thank my colleague, Representative Skolton, for co-leading this legislation with me. The AI Wise Act will ensure SBA provides small businesses with the information that they will need to most effectively utilize AI to bolster their business. I urge all of my colleagues to support this legislation, and Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Are there any of the members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill? Seeing none, I'd like to recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to support legislation to create artificial intelligence literacy resources at the SBA and the resource partners. I thank Ms. Colton and Mr. Downing and the numerous AI and small business stakeholders for working with me to develop this bill over the last 2 years. AI has captured the imagination, excitement, and anxiety of Main Street America and Congress since the launch of ChatGPT just 2 years ago. While AI has the potential to make small businesses more efficient and competitive, it also has risks associated with its use. The AI WISE Act will empower America's small businesses with the skill needed to evaluate and adopt AI in this challenging landscape. It requires the SBA to create an online AI literacy resource for small businesses and allow the resource partners to build upon it with specialized and localized resources to better serve their communities. As AI revolutionizes our way of life, it is critical to ensure small businesses are not left behind by the larger firms better equipped to adopt the technology. With that, I urge my colleagues to vote yes, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Thank you, and I now recognize myself to speak in support of this legislation. As we talked about today, nearly half of small businesses are using the AI in some form, and more are exploring ways they could make their businesses more efficient. As AI adoption accelerates, it's critical that small businesses have the tools and knowledge to stay competitive and thrive in the free market. The AI WISE Act directs the SBA to establish educational resources and online learning tools to help small businesses understand the benefits and risks of integrating AI into their operations. This bill brings together the SBA, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and AI leaders to leverage existing AI resources and develop educational tools that don't just focus on the potential risks. It includes information about how AI could enhance operations, customer service, productivity across Main Street's businesses. The AI WISE Act puts the SBA at the forefront of streamlining information directly for the many small businesses that don't know where to access materials they need to fully scale their businesses while leveraging AI. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 5784, and I yield back. Now, does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none, the question is now on favorably reporting H.R. 5784 to the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the Chair, the ayes have it. H.R. 5784 is agreed to.
Mr. Chair.
Gentleman is recognized.
I request a recorded vote.
Gentleman requests a recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11. Further proceedings on the bill are postponed. The committee now moves to consideration of H.R. 5778, the Improving SBA Engagement on Employee Ownership Act, introduced by Representatives McIver and Bresnahan and Ranking Member Velasquez. The clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 5778, a bill to direct the administrator
Without
of the Small
objection,
Business-
H.R. 5778 is considered as read and open for amendment. I now recognize the bill's sponsor, Representative McIver, from the great state of New Jersey, for a statement on the bill.
Thank you so much, Chairman, and thank you to our ranking member for holding this markup today. I would like to speak in strong support of my bill, H.R. 5778, the Improving SBA Engagement on Employee Ownership Act, a bipartisan bill that I am proud to lead with my colleague, Congressman Bresnahan. There we go. Sorry for butchering that. Of Pennsylvania and Ranking Member Velasquez of New York. Employee ownership is one of the most powerful tools we have to help working people build real wealth and strengthen local economies. When employees become owners, whether through employee stock ownership plans or cooperatives, they share in the profits, have a voice in decision-making, and gain direct stake in the success of the business. These are concrete pathways for everyday people to obtain financial security and stable jobs and to increase community investment. We've seen it through data and through real-world stories. Programs like this help our communities and economy. Employee ownership has made a difference for people like Emilio in my district at the Urban Agriculture Cooperative in Newark, New Jersey. The Urban Agriculture Cooperative operates a food hub, distributing healthy New Jersey products through farmers markets and wholesale. Most recently, they provided high-quality, local-grown produce to families in need during the SNAP crisis. As a cooperative, like those my bill would further support, they help employees build retirement savings and keep businesses rooted in the neighborhoods they serve. Employee owners like Emilio give so much to their workplace, and with this model, they get something positive in return. Yet for far too long, the Small Business Administration has not met its obligation to support these models. Despite the proven benefits of ESOPs and cooperatives, SBA lending programs, especially the flagship 7A program, have reached only a tiny fraction of employee-owned businesses. In fact, over the last several years, the SBA approved just 5 7A loans for SOPs or EESOPs, and fewer than 100 for cooperatives, serving only a sliver of the thousands of employee-owned businesses operating nationwide. That is not because the models don't work. It is because the federal government has not kept up with the growing demand of broad-based ownership. My bill changes that. The Improving SBA Engagement on Employee Ownership Act ensures that the SBA finally does its job to support employee-owned businesses. It requires the agency to show up consistently at the highest levels in federal discussions and about employee ownership and cooperative development. It expands SBA outreach, especially through the SBIC program, so lenders, investors, and entrepreneurs understand how to use SBA tools to finance transitions to employee ownership. And it directs the SBA to finally start up the Small Business Employee Ownership and Cooperatives Promotion Program. I must need another cup of coffee, which Congress required 6 years ago, but has yet to be implemented. These are practical, common sense steps that will help real people, the blue collar worker at a manufacturing plant trying to buy the business before it closes, the single mother working at a home care agency who wants to keep serving families in her community, or the young entrepreneur building a cooperative that offers good jobs and shared prosperity for their neighbors. This bill helps them access capital, receiving technical assistance, and navigate the federal programs that exist to support them. Employee ownership is critical to worker dignity and shared success. It is about making sure workers are treated as partners, not just laborers, and building an economy that rewards hard work and not just wealth. I urge my colleagues to support this bipartisan effort by improving SBA's engagement with employee-owned businesses and cooperatives. We are protecting good jobs, ensuring working people have a fair shot at wealth. This is how we build a more inclusive economy for all. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize Representative Bresnahan from the great state of Pennsylvania for a statement on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So great to be back, and thank you to my colleague, Rep. McIver, for leading this important piece of legislation. ESOPs are a proven asset to help workers become successful partners in their businesses. When employees share in ownership, they share in achievement, creating a workplace that promotes personal investment and a group cooperation to grow a business successfully. That's why I'm proud to co-lead the Improving SBA Engagement on Employee Ownership Act. This legislation will strengthen the Small Business Administration's ability to work with cooperative and employee-owned businesses to enrich local economies and provide business owners with critical assistance to preserve jobs and promote broad-based ownership. I'm looking forward to seeing this bill pass through committee so we can continue to support the small businesses and strengthen their impact on our community's economic stability. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill? Seeing none, I would like to recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support H.R. 5778, and I want to thank Representatives McIver and Bresnahan for their leadership on this issue. Employee-owned businesses are a valuable model that empowers workers and create strong American businesses. Employee-owned businesses like ESOPs and other common control enterprises like co-ops play a significant role in the U.S. economy. As of 2022, there were more than 500 ESOPs holding more than $1.8 trillion in assets, and approximately 65,000 co-ops generating more than $324 billion in revenue. These businesses need the backing of the products and technical training that the SBA provides in order to reach their full potential. These businesses have had only limited access to the SBA products, including the flagship 7A loan program. Technical support for employee-owned businesses has also been limited. The SBA has acknowledged these shortcomings, and during the Biden administration began to engage with ESOPs and co-ops more directly. But more needs to be done. This bill will build on the progress made by providing a framework for increasing engagement between the SBA and other executive branch agencies, currently developing policies and regulations related to ESOPs and co-ops. I want to thank Representative McIver and Bresnahan for working on this bipartisan legislation, and I encourage my colleagues to support the bill. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back, and thank you. And I now recognize myself to speak in support of this legislation. For some entrepreneurs, employee ownership and cooperative business models can offer opportunities to empower their employees and share the success of the company. The Improving SBA Engagement on Employee Ownership Act requires the SBA to finally implement requirements passed in the fiscal year 2019 NDAA to offer information and technical assistance on employee ownership. It also gives the SBA a seat at the table where other agencies are discussing these types of business models. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 5778, and I yield back. Does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none, the question is now unfavorably reporting H.R. 5778 to the House. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. H.R. 5778 is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman, I ask for a recorded vote.
Okay. Gentleman asked for recorded votes. Been requested. A roll call vote is ordered. And pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11, further proceedings on the bill are postponed. The committee now moves consideration of H.R. 4305, Destroying Unnecessary, Misaligned, and Prohibitive Red Tape Act of 2025, or the Dump Red Tape Act, introduced by the Representative Weed. The clerk report the bill.
H.R. 4305, a bill to direct the Chief
Without
Counsel.
objection, H.R. 4305 is considered as read and open for amendment. The bill's sponsor, Representative Weed, has an amendment in the nature of a substitute at the desk. The amendment has been distributed in advance. The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R.
Okay, without objection, the amendment is considered as read, and the substitute will be considered in base text for the purpose of further amendment. I now recognize the bill's sponsor, Representative Weed from the great state of Wisconsin, for a statement on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After suffering through 4 years of regulatory onslaught by the Biden administration, totaling nearly $1.8 trillion in new costs and requiring an additional 360 million hours to comply with these new regulations, small businesses are desperate for regulatory relief. In response, earlier this year, the Small Business Administration created the Red Tape Hotline under its Office of Advocacy. This hotline gives small businesses a seat at the table to highlight the prohibitive red tape regulations from across federal agencies that hurt their ability to grow and compete. My bill, H.R. 4305, the Destroying Unnecessary, Misaligned, and Prohibitive Red Tape Act, codifies the SBA's Red Tape Hotline. It also requires annual reports to Congress from the Office of Advocacy detailing the most burdensome regulations for small business owners and what the steps the SBA has taken to advocate on their behalf. This bill is a common-sense way to gather input directly from the people most harmed by over-regulation. I urge all of my colleagues to support this important piece of legislation and stand with America's small businesses. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Musser, Pennsylvania, recognized.
May I be recognized? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. H.R. 4305, the Dump Red Tape Act, I commend my colleague, Mr. Weed, for introducing. I do think, however, it should have been named the Dump Blue Tape Act. Anyway, it requires the SBA Office of Advocacy to codify the red tape hotline and submit an annual report to Congress and Administrator Loeffler. This will provide small businesses with an outlet to report arbitrary and unnecessary regulations, as stated, directly to Congress and the public. Small businesses are the backbone of the U.S. economy, generating 44% of economic activity and employing over 60% of the workforce. Yet under the Biden administration, small businesses were forced to navigate a complex regulatory landscape, resulting in $1.7 trillion in new regulatory costs and over 300 million hours of paperwork. These burdens ultimately fell on small businesses, limiting their ability to innovate, grow, and compete. So the red tape hotline demonstrates that the Trump administration and Republicans want to hear directly from small businesses about the regulatory challenge they are facing. Unlike the Biden administration, we will continue delivering for small businesses by increasing transparency, promoting pro-growth policies, and streamlining communications. I urge my colleagues to support the bill, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill? Seeing none, I'd like to recognize the ranking member to speak on the bill and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to express my opposition to H.R. 4305. While this bill is less objectionable than other anti-regulatory bills we have considered this Congress, it is simply not necessary. To begin with, a deregulatory hotline already exists on regulations.gov. Establishing another creates duplication and drains SBA resources. More concerning, the proposal hasn't been vetted properly. In the first 100-day report, advocacy indicated there were 96 small business submissions, yet despite repeated requests for more detailed information, advocacy has failed to provide any specific information about these requests. We have no way of knowing if the submissions are related to rules. They could have easily been about tariffs or unpaid invoices to contractors. That is why I cannot support it. We have no information, and the bill is more slogan than substance, ignoring other federal actions that are harming small businesses. We have heard testimony that small businesses are not talking about regulations. It ranks near the bottom of their list of concerns. Inflation, tariffs, and finding good employees are some of the top challenges facing small businesses. Take a walk down Main Street, and you will hear the same concern from small business owners up and down the block. The uncertainty and rising costs tied to the Trump tariffs are crushing their small businesses, plain and simple. And to the best of my knowledge, advocacy has not weighed in with the administration, which raises concerns over their lack of independence from the administration. I recall the many times the administrator from the Biden administration came here to testify. And, she was castigated, asking her if she talked to Joe Biden, the president, about the impact of taxes on them. Well, now my question is the administrator is discussing with Donald Trump the impact that tariffs is having on small businesses, or health care subsidy expirations. How will that impact small businesses? Instead of looking for ways to address inflation, tariffs, and labor shortages, this bill is narrowly drafted to focus on rolling back rules that protect our health, environment, and safety. Turning to the specifics, the bill lacks adequate reporting mechanisms to identify who is making the submissions, leaving it vulnerable to abuse. Advocacy has come under fire for doing the bidding of big businesses in the past, and there are no reporting requirements in this bill to distinguish between a small business, trade association, or law firm. And the bill focuses only on the cost of regulations, not the benefits, which is only one half of the equation. We need to look at both sides of the ledger. And by doing so, we will see that the benefits of the rule greatly outweigh the costs. For this reason, I plan to oppose the bill. With that said, we can get the specific information from advocacy as to what small businesses are actually submitting on the hotline and a better understanding of the mechanics of the hotline to ensure independence between SBA and advocacy. I may be then willing to work with you on this bill. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the bill?
Mr. Chair.
Recognized.
Thank you very much. I support this bill. I think the intentions are pure, and whenever we've had witnesses in this committee, we've asked how many of you want more bureaucrat issues, more regulations, more rules, more redundancy, more impact on small businesses. Every one of them said, the federal government, stay off our backs, get out of our pockets, let us live the American dream and work in our communities. Mr. Weed understands that in his town of Wisconsin. I understand that in northern Minnesota. This bill is a very good bill. It's a good start to make sure that they have the opportunity to succeed. And the gentle lady, the ranker, talks about, asking small businesses beforehand. Well, I say, the Unaffordable Care Act, you never ask small businesses. They're damaged because of that. Mr. Weed, this is a very good piece of legislation, and I support it. I commend you for bringing it up. This is what the small business is for, to make sure that the men and women across this nation who risk everything to succeed, this is one of those pieces of legislation that I'm in favor of, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize myself to speak in support of this legislation. H.R. 4305, the Dump Red Tape Act, codifies the red tape hotline launched by the SBA Office of Advocacy on March 10th, 2025. The hotline gives small businesses a direct line to SBA Advocacy to report burdensome regulations that are holding them back. It further enhances our ability to combat job-crushing red tape by requiring the Office of Advocacy to bring this feedback straight to Congress. And by empowering small business to speak up to federal agencies accountable, this bill will strengthen our commitment to pro-growth, pro-innovation economy. It is necessary to get the government out of the way so that our small business owners can do what they do best. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 4305, and I yield back. Now, does anyone wish to offer an amendment?
Mr. Chairman,
So moved. Recognized.
I have an amendment at the desk.
Okay, there's an amendment at the desk. We'll briefly pause while staff distributes the amendment. Okay, the clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 43.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read, and I now recognize the Representative Cisneros for 5 minutes on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you and the ranking member on the great bipartisan work you've done today on so many of these amendments. My amendment would build on the ability of small businesses and entities to not only report on potentially erroneous and burdensome regulations,
but to report rules that help safeguard small business interests and competition. My amendment also expands the hotline to better listen to small business concerns on other government actions that impact them, such as tariffs, healthcare, and immigration enforcement. What I hear the most from small businesses is that they need relief from tariffs and the uncertainty around them. If we truly want to support small businesses, we need to provide them with an avenue to express their grievances and truly hear what they need and to act on it. Some members of this committee plug their ears and close their eyes when tariffs are mentioned, but that's what small businesses are overwhelmingly sharing as their main concern right now. If the Office of Advocacy won't advocate for small businesses regarding tariffs, who else in our federal government will? Where can small businesses share their concerns? The Office of Advocacy is meant to advocate for small businesses, period. Assertions about their limitations are a fabrication of this administration and a byproduct of Project 2025. If you truly believe that advocacy cannot advocate against policies like tariffs that negatively impact small businesses, then I am open to working with you to expand the mandate to ensure small businesses have a voice in government that advances their views and concerns before Congress, the White House, across federal agencies, and the courts as appropriate. The unfortunate thing about this hotline is that we have not had anyone from the Office of Advocacy come to publicly testify before this committee, much less share what small businesses have raised so far. So my amendment would require more transparency from the advocacy through the information it needs to report to Congress. My amendment would do this by ensuring advocacy provides Congress information on all the government actions small businesses are raising, the recommendations for the actions to minimize those burdens, a summary of actions taken by advocacy, and the type of entity that is making those submissions. We all want to unleash the innovations and level the playing field for our small businesses. I hope my colleagues across the aisle will join me in supporting my amendment to ensure that our small businesses truly have their voices heard throughout the federal government, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further debate on the amendment? Sure. Mr. Weed, you're recognized.
I noticed you even want to change the name of our bill from Dump Red Tape Act to Cut the Burden, Keep the Benefits. Translation, keep the red tape. But here's the thing. Small businesses don't benefit from more bureaucracy. They benefit when we actually cut the red tape holding them back, which is exactly what my bill does. This amendment tries to capture all federal actions, including presidential actions, but that's far beyond the scope of the SBA's statutory mission. The SBA's Office of Advocacy was created to be the voice of small businesses in the regulatory process, not a catch-all for every executive or presidential action. If you expand the scope of the red tape hotline, you will drown out legitimate small business concerns in a sea of unrelated political disputes. Ironically, this amendment adds layers of bureaucracy by requiring SBA to track and report on presidential action, something outside its expertise. That means more paperwork, more delays, and fewer resources devoted to actually helping small businesses. Our bill is about streamlining, not expanding government paperwork. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this amendment.
Gentleman yields back. Is there any further debate on the amendment? Okay. The ranking member?
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to yield some time to my colleague.
And Ms. McIver, you're recognized.
Thank you, Ms. McIver, for yielding me my time, this time. Just to answer back, to my colleague over there, this bill has no way of expanding red tape at all. It actually simply, I think, helps make your bill better by requiring the Small Business Association, the Office of Advocacy, to actually come to us and report and share what they are hearing from these small businesses, which only helps us be more impactful in helping support their small businesses. Really, that is simply all that we're asking, and we are asking that they, kind of broaden their scope as to what, as to what the small businesses can report, right? Whether it's tariffs, healthcare, other issues, collecting this information and then reporting what this information is, what are they gathering, and bringing that to us. That in no way increases the amount of red tape or anything that we're asking for. We're just asking them to report on what is being reported to them and sharing that information with us, which helps us better help the small businesses. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Is there any further debate on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, the ranking member is now recognized to speak on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I lend my support to the amendment being offered by my colleague, Mr. Cisneros. The amendment will make a number of improvements to the underlying bill. First, it strengthens the legislative text by refining the definitions and scope to better align with advocacy's role and the requirements set forth in the Regulatory Flexibility Act. The gentleman said that this amendment is out of the scope of advocacy. That is not true. So let me read the statute. The Office of Advocacy should also perform the following duties on a continuing basis: serve as a local point for the receipt of complaints, criticism, and suggestions concerning the policies and activities of the administration, including the current administration, and any other federal agency which affects small businesses. Second, the amendment allows small entities to weigh in on executive orders and other actions being taken by the administration, and more importantly, requires advocacy to report on the actions taken. This provision is particularly critical now, as the Trump tariffs are generating widespread confusion and uncertainty and inflicting onerous burden on small businesses. You don't want to talk about tariffs and the impact that it's having on small businesses. You want to talk about regulations. But when you go and walk down the street and talk to small businesses, small farmers, they are all raising the issue of the impact of tariffs in their businesses. Surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, the Office of Advocacy has been eerily silent on this topic, as well as this committee. Finally, the amendment will strengthen the reporting requirements and rename the bill to the Cut the Burden, Keep the Benefits Act. Advocacy will be required to report on the benefits of the rules, which must always outweigh the costs. Mr. Cisneros is offering a common sense amendment. I urge all my colleagues to support this amendment.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize myself to speak on the amendment. After only 50 days of opening the hotline earlier this year, the SBA Advocacy received 96 red tape hotline inquiries from small businesses across the country. Small businesses have been taking advantage of the hotline, and Congress needs to ensure stability by codifying the hotline. We need to focus on how we can provide Main Street with the best avenues to reach regulatory relief, and that is through the original amendment and the nature of a substitute provided by Representative Weed. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this legislation. Vote no on the amendment on this legislation.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
You said just now that there has been 96 submissions. Since our side has not been given the opportunity to look at those submissions, have you seen those submissions? Are they related to regulation?
We can, we can find out. I have not seen them, no. Okay?
I rest my case.
All right. The question now occurs on the amendment offered by Representative Cisneros. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it.
Mr.
amendment-
Chairman, I ask for a recorded vote.
Recorded vote has been requested. And roll call vote is ordered, so further proceedings on the amendment are postponed. Does anyone wish to offer an amendment? Okay, there's
Mr. Chair.
amendment.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, sorry, I have an amendment at the desk.
Oh, so moved. There's amendment at the desk. We'll briefly pause while staff distributes the amendment. Okay, the clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 4305.
Without
offered
objection,
by-
the amendment is considered as read, and I now recognize Representative Skolton for 5 minutes on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the best parts of the Small Business Committee is how often Democrats and Republicans can come together to solve real problems facing Main Street. Small business owners don't cut corners to get results, and most of the time, neither do members of this committee. Unfortunately, with the Dump Red Tape Act, committee Republicans have rushed a flawed bill to solve a problem we could be addressing on a bipartisan basis. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. It's been said several times today. If there is no greater bedrock in this committee, it is that. And we all agree that they need support in navigating the complex web of challenges that they face every day. Maintaining a hotline that will help small business owners report some of their most significant hurdles is a good idea. It's already in practice and something that Democrats and Republicans can continue to do in a bipartisan fashion. The problem with today's bill is that committee Republicans are trying to codify a hotline where it seems that anyone, small business or not, can register a complaint. And that's because they get reported to Congress anonymously. And the complaint has to be about a specific regulation. So the real problem is individuals from lobbying firms, attorneys, representing major businesses can register complaints here anonymously under the guise of being a small business. Large businesses themselves can come here and register these complaints anonymously. Is this really about helping small businesses, or is this a suggestion box for billionaires? If we're going to spend taxpayer money on running this hotline, it is our job to make that hotline help real small businesses with real challenges. The Dump Red Tape Act needs significant changes to meet that bar. And today, I'm offering an amendment to get us one step closer to legislation that is worthy of the small businesses in our districts. My amendment addresses a concern I hear from so many business owners in West Michigan. Running a business is challenging, and doing so in an unpredictable economic landscape is even more difficult. President Trump promised to lower prices starting on day one, but instead he has implemented a series of tariffs that have created chaos and real costs for entrepreneurs. As the costs of materials have jumped across the board, small businesses have borne the brunt of these policies. I know my Republican colleagues have heard it too. As currently written, the hotline under the Dump Red Tape Act permits submissions on burdensome rules and regulations, but it does not allow for submissions on executive actions like tariffs. My amendment to the Dump Red Tape Act will allow small businesses to submit concerns to the hotline about executive orders and proclamations relating to tariffs. We should not be afraid to receive this feedback. We should not be limiting the uses of the hotline, especially when tariffs remain one of the biggest challenges small business owners deal with on a daily basis. The Trump administration has already set up a hotline that has received 96 submissions. Unfortunately, we do not know what these submissions are about. as the ranking member pointed out. They could very well be about tariffs, rules, or non-payment of government contractors, not just burdensome regulations. This committee and the people that we represent deserve to know what those submissions are about. If we're going to pass legislation to make this hotline permanent, we need to ensure that it can receive submissions accounting for all of the very real challenges of small business ownership. My amendment would help to do just that. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment. We want to make this hotline work and be a real tool for small businesses to connect and make real change. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Gentlelady yields back, and is there further debate on the amendment?
Yes.
Representative Weed, your note.
As a former small business owner for my entire lifetime up to this point, I would say the purpose of this bill is to give our hardworking small businesses a voice in exposing overbearing regulations that hurt our small businesses from growing. Tariffs are a matter of national trade and foreign policy, overseen by Congress and the administration, not the SBA. Tariffs right now they're used to protect American industries, enforce fair trade, and respond to global imbalances in trade. They're not red tape. They don't impose compliance paperwork or permitting delays that continue to hurt small businesses, including presidential tariff actions that would turn the hotline into a political complaint desk about trade policy. That undermines its credibility as a neutral, business-focused tool. Congress already has oversight mechanisms for tariffs and trade policy. Our bill avoids duplication by keeping the hotline focused on regulations. If every tariff proclamation is subject to hotline review, it signals to foreign competitors that U.S. trade policy is fragmented and negotiable. That weakens America's hand in trade negotiations and could harm the very small businesses the amendment claims to protect. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this amendment.
Gentleman yields back. Is there further debate on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McGarvey is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield my time to Congresswoman Skolten.
Mr. Chairman, most small business owners don't necessarily know the difference between a regulation, a point of law, or the tariffs that are harming their small businesses, but they sure know what is impacting their bottom line. This committee should not be afraid to receive feedback and further to know what is included in those 96 complaints that have already been received. This is a common sense amendment that would open this up for small business owners to be able to have the freedom to share with this committee how we can best help them. I yield back.
Is there any further debate on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cisneros is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look, I just want to address the issue. We do need, the one thing that I hear from my small businesses in my district is just give us stability. I need stability. But when we have a president who makes a whim on a tariff and raises them for Canada because he didn't like a commercial that he saw during the World Series, that's no stability there, right? That is not what our small businesses are asking for. And they need to be able to kind of make that complaint and bring it forward, and that is something the Office of Advocacy should be reporting to us in Congress so that we can help address these issues. But with that, we just want to make this bill better. Give the small businesses the opportunity to report what they are hearing and have the SBA come to us and tell us what they are hearing, which is not happening now with the way that the way this is working now. With that, I yield back.
And yields back. Is there further debate on the amendment? Okay, the ranking member is now recognized to speak on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I lend my support to the amendment offered by my colleague, Ms. Colton. The amendment would allow small businesses to submit concerns about tariffs and require advocacy to report on its action to limit the burden. The Office of Advocacy is the voice of small businesses. It's not limited only to complaints about regulations. It's open to anything that impacts small businesses. The 96 submissions to the advocacy hotline could have easily been about tariffs, but we don't know. The chairman doesn't know. I just asked him. He hasn't seen any of the submissions. The administration didn't provide the information to us. So if we are here passing legislation based on what we hear and what the SBA want to tell us, but not to share the specific information, we need to do better by small businesses. Tariffs, not regulations, are crushing small businesses. Small businesses all across the country are shouldering the costs of the Trump tariffs. The cost of goods is rising exponentially, making it harder and hard for small businesses to do what they do best: create jobs, innovate, and flourish. Despite promises made by the Trump administration to lower costs on day one, President Trump's policy have inflicted pain on every sector of the small business economy. And where is the Office of Advocacy when small businesses are under siege? Nowhere to be found. I strongly support the amendment, which would allow us to get a better understanding of how many small businesses are contacting advocacy about tariffs and see if advocacy is advocating for them. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize myself to speak on the amendment. As my colleague mentioned, the amendment is unnecessary because the red tape hotline needs to be targeted to address the regulatory burdens Main Street is feeling every day, not what is defined in this proposed amendment. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this amendment. Now, the question now occurs on the amendment offered by Representative Skolton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the
Mr. Chairman, I request a recorded vote.
Members recognized, and a recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered. Further proceedings on the amendment are postponed. Okay, now the question now occurs on the adoption of the substitute amendment offered to H.R. 4305 by Representative Weed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 4305 is adopted. The question is now on favorably reporting H.R. 4305 as amended to the House. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and H.R. 4305 as amended is agreed to.
Mr. Chairman, ask for a recorded vote.
Okay, we recognize that, and a recorded vote has been requested. A roll call vote is ordered, and pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11, further proceedings on the bill are postponed. Now, the committee will stand in recess subject to the call of the chair. Members, please return to 11:40. Please return at 11:40 to resume consideration of the bill on which the roll call votes were requested and postponed.
side of the aisle.
Okay, the committee will now come to order. The committee will resume consideration of the bills on which roll call votes were requested and postponed. We start with H.R. 5763. The question now is on adopting H.R. 5763 and ordering it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote. There we go. You want to hit it for me?
Just point it towards the clerk. There we go.
The guy in the gray suit. Okay, right here.
Yeah.
Are there any other members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote, and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 27 and the noes are 0.
Okay, the motion is agreed to, and H.R. 5763 is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. The question now is adopting H.R. 5788 and ordering it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote.
Might have to lift it up there.
Are there any other members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? Okay. If not, the clerk will close the vote, and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 27 and the noes are 0.
The motion is agreed to, and H.R. 5788 is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. The question now is adopting H.R. 3496 as amended and ordering it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any other members who have not voted or wish to change the vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote, and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 27 and the noes are 0.
Okay, the motion is agreed to, and H.R. 3496 as amended is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. The question now is on ordering H.R. 5764 as amended and ordering it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any other members who have not voted and wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 27 and the noes are 0.
The motion is agreed to, and H.R. 5764 as amended is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. The question now is on adopting H.R. 5784 and ordering it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any of the members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 27 and the noes are 0.
The motion is agreed to, and H.R. 5784 is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. The question now is on adopting H.R. 5778 and ordering it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any other members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote and clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 27 and the noes are 0.
The motion is agreed to, and H.R. 5778 is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. Now, we will now vote on H.R. 4305. The question is on the amendment offered by Representative Cisneros. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any other members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 12 and the noes are 15.
The amendment is not agreed to. The question is on the amendment offered by Representative Skolton. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any other members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will close the vote and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 12 and the noes are 15.
Okay, the amendment is not agreed to. Now, the question is adopting to H.R. 4305 as amended and order it favorably to the House. The clerk will open the vote. Are there any other? Okay. Are there any members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? Okay, if not, the clerk will close the vote and the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 18 and the noes are 9.
The motion is agreed to, and H.R. 4305 as amended is adopted and will be reported favorably to the House. Now, if there is if there's no further business, this concludes today's markup. I want to say I think we had a good markup. Bipartisanship is strong in this committee, and we're getting things done. So without objection, the committee staff is authorized to make technically conforming changes, and members have 2 business days to file additional supplemental dissenting and minority views. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Without objection, the committee stands adjourned. Thank you.